Hello and welcome to Woke Watch. And if you're watching this video, you already know the drill. I find a woke story from the news and together we pick it apart. So it should come as no surprise whatsoever that this week's story comes from the world of higher education. For a mere £27,550, one of England's oldest and most famous universities, Cambridge, will sell you a German language course. Now that does seem a little pricey given that you can get those Rosetta Stone CDs on Amazon, and also every German speaks perfect fucking English. But the reason this course costs so much is that Cambridge will teach you a version of the German language which is less sexist and more inclusive of trans and non-binary people. Confused? Don't worry, I was as well. The issue is that German, like many European languages, is gendered. You may have experienced the same sort of thing if you go to a French restaurant, where the meals are labelled as masculine or feminine, which as an English speaker, I find somewhat baffling, because if I'm going out for dinner, if to get something to eat, I'm not planning on fucking it. But in German, almost all plurals are male. So you can have a group made up of men, women and they, thems, but they will be referred to as men. So that is a bit sexist. Still, it's far from being the worst thing that the Germans have done. Being an Englishman, I'm duty-bound to mention the Second World War every time opportunity arises. So, in this new version of the German language, for the most part it's gender neutral, and for some words, one letter can be replaced with an asterisk, indicating that that word can apply to any gender. It's similar to when the word woman in English is written wominks. That was started by radical feminists in the 1970s who wanted to get rid of the word men from women, and it's later gone on to be inclusive of trans and non-binary people. However, if you ever meet anyone using the term wominks, they will be an insufferable narcissistic attention seeker with low-level brain damage. It does strike me as odd that this new version of the German language, which is a beautiful language, I don't speak it myself, but again, I've watched a lot of war films. It's odd that it's being taught primarily in England. However, there is one group of people who are against this new non-aggressive, all-inclusive, non-binary, transgender, all men are rapists version of the language. And that's the Germans. I'm paraphrasing here. But the general consensus among German people interviewed on this subject is that if someone entered Deutschland and tried speaking to them in this new woke version of German, they would think that person was a fucking imbecile. There's even a German professor at Cambridge who said that if someone spoke to him in that manner, he would assume Monty Python were making a comeback. And we know this woke bullshit won't work in German because it doesn't fucking work in English. When we hear that men can have babies, or that mothers are chest feeding rather than breastfeeding, or ridiculous terms like fisher person, we all know it's woke crap. It's less than 1% of the population who somehow make more noise than everyone else. And I use the term fisher person to prove a point, I guess. A few years ago, in the UK, it was debated whether the term fisherman should be replaced with fisher person so that it wasn't sexist to women working in the fishing industry. Luckily though, every woman who worked in the trade was interviewed and they all said they were happy to be called fishermen. Both of them. I guess the good thing about woke language, now available in German for the best part of 30 grand, is it makes those who believe in woke ideology easier to avoid, because they plaster that shit everywhere. They've all got the badges with their pronouns on them, they plaster it all over social media. In fact, just about 3 weeks ago, I got a friend request on Facebook from someone I didn't know, so I clicked on their profile and it said, proud trans woman with the pronouns ze, zer. And I thought, not a fucking chance, I am never interacting with you. In the same way that if I was walking down the street and I saw a very angry woman with bad skin, too many facial piercings and bright blue hair, I wouldn't strike up a conversation, because I know that conversation would turn into a lecture on how, because I'm a straight white man, everything in the fucking world is my fault. Anyway, that's the end of this video. I expect by next week, Michelangelo's David will have been removed from the Uffizi in Florence in order to have its cock and balls cut off and breast implants, just to give the screamy people one less thing to be fucking offended by. As ever, thanks for watching.